Scientists, we are getting so close to finishing our research of the 8 planets in our solar system. Today brings us to our last planet in the solar system, which you can see on the screen, which is Neptune. And you'll notice here it says the windiest planet. That's interesting. And so here's a picture of Neptune. It's a beautiful blue color. And I also see it looks like I'm wondering what this little round spot is. It kind of reminds me of Jupiter's big red spot, so maybe there'll be some connections there. Now, what we're going to do is we're just going to take a look quickly at some pictures of Neptune to kind of build our background knowledge. So again, we know Neptune is blue. We see that it looks like there's possibly some sort of storm on Neptune based on what I've already learned about Jupiter. Here's some more pictures. This one's from NASA Hubble Space Telescope. And then here's Voyager 2's with its South Pole view. And then here's a really cool up-close picture. Look how cool that is, the surface. And then back to this one. So what we're going to do today is our job as readers and learners today is to say, how are the outer planets related? Because the whole point of us learning about the solar system is to find patterns within it. And so today it's going to say, I can name characteristics that outer planets share. And so as we read our book today, we're going to be documenting things that are similar between Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. And then in your Seesaw account, you have a note-taking sheet specifically for Neptune, and I've also put a video in there of a Neptune song from Storybots for you to listen to, okay? And so we're going to take a look at our book here, which is a nonfiction text about Neptune. And as we're reading, I want you to think about what makes Neptune similar to our other 3 outer planets. So it says Neptune is a planet. It is a gas giant. It is made up of mostly gas instead of rock. A telescope is needed to see Neptune from Earth. It was first seen in 1846. So already, if I were to go back to our note-taking sheet, I could say that all my outer planets are considered gas giants. That is one thing they all have in common, and they have no solid surface. So those are 2 things that I can already say are similar about Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. Neptune is the 8th and last planet in the solar system. So here, remember, we have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. It is almost 2.8 billion miles from the sun. So I want you to make an inference of, do you think Neptune is hot or cold, and why? We'll find out. All of the planets orbit the sun. A year is the time it takes a planet to orbit the sun. A year for Neptune is 165 Earth years. So it takes Neptune 165 years just to go around the sun one time. Now that makes me think about the other outer planets that we've learned about. They also all took a really long time to get around the sun. So that's another similarity that I could put for my outer planets, is that they take a long time to orbit the sun. A day is the amount of time it takes a planet to spin on its axis. A day for Neptune is a little more than 16 Earth hours. And so another thing that I read is that our outer planets, even though they take forever to go around the sun, a day is actually pretty fast. So day/night, so actually I would say it could spin quickly on its axis. And I'll put day and night as another thing that they all have in common. Neptune is the 4th largest planet. It is 30,775 miles across, and Earth could fit inside Neptune about 58 times. So here's Earth and then Neptune, so 58 Earths could go inside. It's a pretty big planet. Neptune is very cold. So there is the answer to the question I asked you a little bit earlier, if Neptune would be hot or cold being far away from the sun. And that's also something I think is in common with all my outer planets and gas giants, is that they are very cold because they are farther from the sun. It gets little heat from the sun, and the average temperature is negative 370 degrees Fahrenheit. Brr, that is very cold. Neptune's atmosphere has many gases. Frozen methane gives Neptune its blue color. And that was similar to what we learned about with Uranus, is when the methane in the air absorbs the red and then reflects the blue, and that's what creates that blue color that we see. The wind in the atmosphere is very strong. It moves at speeds up to 700 miles an hour. Whoa! So I'm going to actually add that to my list of things that are similar, that a lot of these planets are really windy. And we learned that Neptune is actually the windiest planet. A layer of liquid lies below the gases of Neptune's atmosphere. The core of Neptune is made up of rock and ice. So again, even though these gas giants don't have a solid surface, they still have a solid core that holds it in the middle all together. Neptune has 13 known moons. The largest is Triton. It is larger than all the other moons combined. Well, that's cool. Triton has active volcanoes. They shoot gas and dust up to 8 miles high. That's really interesting. I bet you can make a connection between Triton and another one of our moons that we've learned about. If you're thinking of Io, I'm thinking the same one, because Io, remember, is the most volcanically active place in our entire solar system. But what I am going to put on my list, though, is that every gas giant has a lot of moons. Right? When you think about the inner planets, we know Mercury and Venus don't have any moons. Earth only has one, and then Mars only has two. But yet, our friend Jupiter has over 60 or 70 moons orbiting around Jupiter. So it's definitely something that the outer planets have in common. Neptune has 4 rings. They are hard to see, and they are mostly made out of dust. Neptune has been visited by only one space probe. Voyager 2 passed by Neptune in 1989. So again, we have something else that's similar about all of our outer planets, is that they all have rings. Even though you can't really see Neptune's very well, they're there. There's 4 of them. Voyager 2 sent information back to Earth about Neptune's atmosphere, rings, and moons. Future probes may orbit Neptune. They would send back more information about the farthest planet from the sun. And then that is the end of our Neptune book, but I would like for us to take a look at some 10 need-to-know facts about Neptune. So Neptune is about 4 times wider than Earth. If Earth were a large apple, Neptune would be the size of a basketball. Neptune orbits our sun, a star, and is the 8th planet from the sun. Neptune takes 16 hours to rotate once, which we learned, and about 165 Earth years to orbit the sun. It is considered an ice giant. Neptune is an ice giant. Most of its mass is a hot, dense fluid of icy materials, water, methane, and ammonia above a small rocky core. Neptune is gassy. It's made of molecular hydrogen, atomic helium, and methane. Neptune has 14 known moons, which are named after sea gods and nymphs in Greek mythology. That's cool. Faint rings. Neptune has at least 5 main rings and 4 more ring arcs that are clumps of dust and debris likely formed by the gravity of a nearby moon. Voyager 2 is the only spacecraft to have visited Neptune. No spacecraft has orbited the distant planet to study it at length and up close. Neptune cannot support life as we know it. And because of dwarf planet Pluto's elliptical orbit, Pluto is sometimes closer to the sun and us than Neptune is. Very interesting. So we're starting to gather some more information about our final planet, the 8th planet in our solar system, Neptune. And through our reading, we were able to make some really great connections between patterns and all of our outer planets. So we know that all of our outer planets are considered gas giants. They have no solid surface. They take a long time to orbit around the sun, but they do spin quickly, though, for day and night on their axis. They're all very cold. They're very windy. They have a solid core, a lot of moons, and they have rings. And so what you're going to do in your seesaw is you're going to open up Seesaw, And you are going to record what Neptune is, what it can do, and what it has. And to help you, you also have a link to Storybot's Neptune song that you can listen to and use in your note taking, okay? And tomorrow I will see you back here to continue learning about Neptune. And then later in the week, we're going to finally learn about Pluto and why Pluto is no longer considered a planet. I will see you back here tomorrow. Bye, first grade.